everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Nerditorium Live. This week, it's just me, Tejas, and Jishnu. Jishnu, how's it going, man?
It's just me too. Oh, I'm good. That's not what you asked. I'm
Great.
great.
I think this episode is maybe a long time coming because I think out of everybody I know who is into some of the same things that we are into, of course, maybe you are the only other person who has seen the shows that we're going to be talking about today. Namely, uh, admittedly, we're Disney hosts, and there are two Disney shows that have dropped that captured our imagination. Immediately from the time it was announced. Actually, one since the time it
Yeah.
was announced, and the other one I had no idea was even going to happen.
Oh no, I was very aware.
Oh, you were aware of this
Oh
other
yeah,
show?
because I'm very aware of everything he
Okay,
does.
that's true. All right. So the two
Yeah.
shows we're going to be talking about are the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, which is the long-awaited sequel series. We didn't know we were going to get a series, which stars, Emilio Estevez. He's back as Gordon Bombay, and in a surprise bit of casting for me, Lauren Graham as I want to say her name is I
Alex Morrow. I
Alex
had to.
Mott. Yes.
I have it up. I needed. I
Perfect.
needed the
Yeah,
IMDb
I
for
kept
this
the credits
show.
up, but I'm also handling the OBS. So I love Lauren Graham obviously from Gilmore Girls and stuff, and to know that they were going to be starring like opposite each other, and plus it's a show about a bunch of new kids and has a bit of Cobra Kai-esque vibes to it, and I'll explain that in a bit. But so super excited about Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and the second show. Is a show that I had no idea about. But obviously, Jishnu, you did.
hmm
It's a show called Big Shot. Tell us, what is it about?
It is John Stamos' Reckoning, is what it's about. I am hyper aware of what the guy is up to at all times because I'm a fan, like no other. Always have been, always will be. And it is a show much like the uh, Mighty Ducks Game Changers, except that it's not based on any previous entity. It's just an original story about a bunch of high school basketball kids at an all girls private high school in California. And John Stamos is a rough and tough ex college
NCAA coach.
NCAA college coach who gets reprimanded for throwing a chair at a referee or something and is now like in basketball coach jail, being forced to
Yeah,
coach
he's
a
kind
bunch
of
of
like
kids.
accepted
Yeah,
a demotion as such because he's gone from
basically.
college basketball, like varsity basketball, which is like
So
a very
he's
big thing.
you get to see an angry, bitter Stamos, which is great.
Which is great.
Like,
I will say that the acting across both of these shows, from the kids and the adults alike, are sublime. They're great, and just like it, I just want to talk about them as a whole, and just say that Disney shows, because they're aimed at kids, and I'd say the Mighty Ducks Game Changers is slightly even like a slightly younger audience than Big Shot.
mhm.
And both of these shows, so you're not gonna get like anything really woeful or like
Yeah,
tragic, but at
yeah.
the same time, where they kind of make up for that is that it's not completely lost on a very like middling kind of emotional show. It's quite emotional. Like I know
hmm
there were moments in Big Shot and in Game Changers where I was tearing up or I felt
Yep.
feels. I don't know whether it's because
I don't feel that so
it's
much in Game Changers, but definitely in Big Shot.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, definitely. Big Shot is for slightly older, like maybe teenager or older
it is a teen
audiences.
drama.
Yeah,
Yes.
and but both of them like had like the right kind of feels, like in the sense that Mighty Ducks was, it had the original spirit, the spirit of the Ducks. It has the thing about, and it has some now freshly written, new values for the new generation and things like that in both across both the shows, and we can talk about both of those things. I want to start with Mighty Ducks Game Changers because this is something that is not coming from scratch.
hmm
This is obviously the result of three very cult classic kind of films from Disney,
hmm
which starred Emilio Estevez playing this reluctant coach again in the beginning, and then kind of grooming these misfit groups of like kids into like first in the beginning just as the D6 like championship, like which is a kids kind of thing, and then after that into like national team, and then even more so in like a higher level as the kids also grow up. So what do you remember about Mighty Ducks growing up, man?
Just the vibe, really. Like, it's not the kind of series where I think most people would care to remember any specific moments other than just a small handful, and that too, if any, it would be from the first one, maybe just a couple from the second.
Right.
But it's really just more of a really general feel-good time. It was nothing
Yeah.
terribly. It just had a very charismatic leading man and a very lovable band of like, little rascals.
Yep.
And it was pretty easy to recreate, like, because I don't think there was all that much expectation. It was just a matter of like, just don't make something terrible and it'll be fine. It's honestly it's a pretty low stakes entity.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
I
those
think
things. I love
think
that.
like I can't name. I mean, obviously we don't have ice hockey in this part of the world, but I can't think of many, if any, other big films that even tried to go down that road in a non overly dramatic sports movie kind of a fashion, or like a documentary kind of a fashion.
Yeah.
So it's really just it's a dad who just takes on a family, whether he saw it coming or not, or rather he didn't see it coming, and just like becomes a dad to a whole bunch of kids, and he watches them grow, and then it's just replace regular family strife with a sports team, which is, I mean, I guess in many ways a lot of sports movies, but this is pretty much just that through and through, because like not that many people watch ice hockey around the world. Yet it somehow
I don't
is
know
such a big
how
deal.
did you watch this movie as a kid? Did you watch it on television?
Innocently, just innocently on Star Movies. Like, of all random subject matters, like this becomes a thing that like hits home, and it's purely just because of the relationship between these kids, and like the actual time spent on the ice, other than training montages, is not that much, because nobody knows about, let alone cares about, ice hockey in the grand scheme of things.
That's something that they kind of kept up with, like the fact that I remember they would, like, it's all about the how memorable is the ice hockey moment, right? As opposed to actual strategy. Like they don't discuss that as much in the, like, but it's more about like, oh, can you pass an egg from one player to another? Because if you can crack the if you don't crack the egg, then you're passing with finesse, and that's really so for me. My memory is all about it's about that, or it's about Fulton.
A teacher teaching a student, a father teaching
very
a
Miyagi-esque.
That's all it is. It's literally just Miyagi recreation. Which is great. And in the same vein, this show did the exact same moves quite literally. They had moments where he said, well, I've tried this with an egg, let me try it now with your cell phones, because I think you care about your cell phones more than you care about an egg, which is cool, and it's funny, and it's cute. But kind of to our point of, it's not really about sports. The fact that this show is built on the shoulders of Lauren Graham's character, who basically says, I don't know the first thing about hockey, but I want my kid to have fun, and he seems to like hockey, so I guess I'll be his coach. And she doesn't have a clue what she's doing, and she names the team the Don't Bothers and says it's all about having fun, and they shove that down.
How did you feel about that?
I like that. I like that because it was very much the audience. I mean, I would think a large audience, a large part of the audience's perspective on this, where in which we don't really know too much, if much at all, about the game, and it's really just about watching these kids trying at something that they love. Good for them, let them enjoy it. I just want to see them stumble, fall, and then rise up again, and make friends along the way. And the ice hockey was in you the whole time. That's what it was all about.
Why I likened it a bit to Cobra Kai was because the Karate Kid is very similarly a series from the 80s, which is about about Mr. Miyagi and his type of karate, and and about Ralph Macchio's character, and that's basically the entire story of Karate Kid, and they did 3 movies of that. And the Cobra Kai began this series saying that Miyagi-Do and Ralph Macchio's character were just dicks, they were assholes, and Cobra Kai was actually the hero in all of this. And it starts the show with this kind of reverse idea that maybe these guys were wrong and Cobra Kai needs to be restarted. And so the entire show is based on Cobra Kai, and so Cobra Kai kind of becomes like maybe like the anti-heroes, or like the good guys in some regards, and then there's been a lot of like karate soap opera drama.
Then I mean, I guess these guys did the same thing because the ducks are the antagonists.
So that's what's so interesting about this, that they kind of Cobra Kai the thing, where now in this series, the Mighty Ducks, the very Mighty Ducks, the name
Yeah.
are the antagonists in the show,
A corporate.
and they're very corporate now. Like over the years, they've kind of become this very, very sleek brand, and they have denounced the man who basically brought them to that level, which is Gordon Bombay. And that for me was like the interesting thing of the show. Like you said, the fact that of course there's a side to it there, where Lauren Graham's character and her son, who she really just wants him to play hockey, and he really wants to play hockey, but he wants to kind of like not do it not do it in a way that makes him feel like an asshole, like and basically not play with like these very strict guidelines. And his mom also is kind of enforcing that, saying that it's about having fun. But and I don't know if you found this similarity. Maybe tell me about this. But I remember when we finished Ted Lasso a little earlier this year, or maybe last year even.
It was end of 20, December 20.
And Ted Lasso also had like a bit of the similar kind of arc where Ted Lasso is all about competing, but like about having fun and playing games and being more of a team. It's more about the team than it is about the matches. Until one of the things in the final episode where Coach Beard is just like
no, it's about winning.
Like, no, it's about winning. It's like everything is about. He's like, sports is about winning. So how do you feel about where do you find the reconciliation between about the having fun and also, but this is a sport and people have to win, and that's not a bad thing.
It's not neither is a bad thing. Everything is balanced, as all things should be, right? It's like it just depends on the vibe you're going for. If you want like aggressive competitiveness, and you want that kind of high intensity drama from the adrenaline rush of that, then you have like a full-blown war movie about like people in the trenches, where it's like it's all just bullets flying, because that's what war is all about, and that's kind of what a high intense game is like. Like it's really like just about the sticks flying, the balls throwing, the grass, and all this stuff. But if you want the heart and the fuzzies, which is where the team comes in, then you have, instead of like the men on the field in a war, you have the people in the back. Like you have the families that are torn apart. You have the brothers, from across the borders and shit like that. And in this vein, you have
the weirdest analogy you've
It's
made.
the same thing. It's the exact same thing. It's the guys at home.
Sports is war, Jishnu.
Have to fight it out at home in order to make sure that they can do what they want on the field, which is why in Ted Lasso, he insists that you guys go out and have a good time together
and
off the
compete
field.
at the same time.
No, you can. It's just a matter of the vibe you go for the medium. It's like if you choose for the show to be one type of show, or you choose for the show to be another type of show. It's like, is this a high intensity show? Is the show going to be in the grass on the field at all times? And that's the thing. Like, you seen the movie Goal?
Of course.
Right?
It's one of my favorite scenes
ever.
That
movie is really just about the game. It's about him just fucking on the field at all times, just like trying to get better at being the game. But then you have Bend It Like Beckham, which is not really that much about the sport, but it's about the relationship between the two of them and the rest of the team, and then the drama with the manager. Jasminda. But Jasminda. I think there's no right or wrong with it. It's just a matter of like, this show became laughably predictable, as you kind of expect it to be, based on the fact that it's a show meant for kids. What show isn't?
I wish we watched this show together, Jishnu, only because there were so many moments in it which was so like not even Gen Z. This is like Generation Alpha.
I
right?
never felt so old in my life, and I feel old all the time. I feel old
there
all
was some,
the time.
There was some interesting things.
Plot point about TikTok. There was an entire plot point about
I was just gonna talk about TikTok.
It's about a girl. One's a nerdy girl.
She's like a Dungeons and Dragons. And sorry, to the point in our comments, Ankit Dayal saying you did play D&D ice hockey with us. That's true. Somebody's asking for a Loki review, but we'll do that later. But yeah, like in that section, it's just the entire drama of that episode, which is that these two friends they're kind of split apart because one person didn't want the other on their TikTok, and I was just like, that's a 2021 arc, isn't it? Remember there was this Twitter handle, which I think is still around, called Seinfeld episode previews, right? And it's just basically Seinfeld episodes, endless Seinfeld episode previews, but they are doing it as per today's day and age. And it's just like George wants to get on Tinder, but so and so, and it's just the episode kind of preview title, and it's so funny. It just reminded me of that
I didn't understand the stakes. I was like, I don't know how big a deal this is that
Apparently,
you're
it's
not
a deal.
on
It's
their
a big
TikTok. I was
deal.
like, is this kids being kids, or
But I think
are
the
you supposed to
important
feel
part of
butthurt?
that was that there was this one girl who's like the super nerd and like is into like Dungeons and Dragons. She wears all these capes and stuff, and the other one is
Yeah.
like your typical kind of your
Cool.
cool girl who
Yeah.
sits with the cool kids, plays in the cool kind of teams, all of that. And
Yeah.
these two kids should not, in any other circumstance, kind of interact, especially in
Yeah.
American high school dynamics. But those
Yeah.
are being broken down a lot. So
Yeah.
that was what was nice about this show. And I was like, oh, cool. I guess I'm up to date with American high
But
school.
but the
stuff,
good
or
news
middle
for all of
school.
us is that they brought it home in like the ninth or the one of the penultimate episode, I think it was, and they have the almost famous tiny dancer moment on the bus where all the kids are on the bus and they're like just they're not singing a song together but they're texting each other and they're just like having a good time. Like, this is great. This is like
It was
it's a
very
leveling field.
far from home vibe. It was just American like high school drama. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, some things never change. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some things which are pretty standard issue, which is what you're kind of looking for when you go for Mighty Ducks. I still want to see the flying V. I still want to see. The other thing was I don't know if they did a will they won't they with
Oh, that
Alex
was on my
and-
mind the whole time. I
Of
was
course
like,
it
which
was.
one
Right?
of-
There was
yeah.
like, especially when he says, "Oh, use your hips to shoot," and she's like, "Yeah, just like a cannon," and he's just like, "Oh, that's nothing like what you said." And it was like good.
Yeah.
It was decent chemistry. I want to say.
Yo, God,
Didn't ask for it. Didn't
Yeah.
know that this was a thing, but it
But
works, man.
in the end, I'm glad that they kept it more about the kids and it wasn't
Yeah.
the Gordon Bombay story.
I mean, I
All-
kind
as
of
much
wanted.
as would
I
like to be-
want a
know,
little
you
more
would want it to
Gordon
be. You
Bombay.
would want it to be, but the thing is, the guys also had 3 movies. I'm like, well, then just don't call it Mighty
He's
Ducks
had
Game
2.5
Changers. Just call
movies technically. Like, because the third
Sure.
movie, he's not even the coach.
it. Fair enough, but still, I mean, in this way, he wasn't the coach either. But the point is, like, I'm glad that he didn't overshadow anybody. Like, his presence was very much felt when he was on screen. But then, like, the kids, the 2 main lead kids, Evan
Morrow, yeah.
Alex's kid, and then the chubby dude. This is the Samwise
that guy is
Gamgee,
so good.
the guy that basically looks like Samwise. Nick,
Yeah.
was aces. Like, I loved him. So
He
I'm
was
glad
great. He
that,
was really funny, actually.
I'm glad that
yeah.
it wasn't the Gordon Bombay story because I think we've
What
seen
did you
enough
think
the
of
Gordon Bombay story.
Swayam Bhatia as Sophie Hansen, but the American Indian lead, the romantic interest of our lead character as well? And she was
I
kind of
mean, yeah, it was fine.
It was cool. It was nice, man. I was just like,
like
represent.
the only main gripe I had was with the antagonist, Coach T. He was basically Draco Malfoy.
He was Draco
and
Malfoy, but it
a
was
worse version of Malfoy. Like, Malfoy, I'm not
they
a
didn't
biggest fan of
develop
on
him
screen.
enough into a good
And
villain.
this guy was worse than Malfoy on screen. And I was like, well, shit. But
Yeah,
anyway,
he just
it
felt
didn't
like
really
he
matter.
felt like a stoner kind of guy, but who actually isn't.
A stoner guy who had his hair slicked back. He had hair kind of like mine, but just with like 10
Yeah,
pounds
he was
of
always
grease in
like,
it.
yeah, so we're gonna beat you, man. And I was just like, but I mean, like, it didn't fit that bit of it. Yeah, but fair enough. I see. I think his best moment definitely comes when he bonds with. Sorry, we're doing a spoiler cast of the Mighty Ducks, but when he kind of Gordon Bombay in his goodness kind of reveals why he was kicked off the board and all of that, and then he uses that against him. I'm just like, oh, good move, sweet move, bro. But yeah, man, I overall I enjoyed this show. I would give it a solid 7 on 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, because the stakes
Yep.
aren't high, but and that's great.
It's a breezy, easy watch.
a
And
very
if
breezy
you're
watch.
at all invested in the franchise, you will have
Yeah.
a few moments that make you go, hey,
yeah, it's
that's
worth
the
watching
thing.
just for that.
Hey,
I mean,
it's the
it
guy.
was
Yeah,
just
cool. And that's
worth
about it,
watching
you know?
for Emilio Estevez kind
Yeah.
of getting back into loving hockey again is something that I wanted to see, and it was great because I always wanted to know what he did after that, and that was cool. And it's good that he
I'm just
wasn't
glad
a
to
lawyer
see
anymore.
Emilio again. I don't know. I just want to see Emilio again. I want to see more of him, and I miss him.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I don't really know him from anything else significantly
He was
outside
in
of the
that
Ducks, and I
movie
would love to
Bobby,
see him.
right?
Exactly,
Like
that
where he played,
movie is not like
Robert F. Kennedy.
I would like him to get to a point where he's more than Emilio from the Mighty Ducks and those other things. Like,
He's just the
he's
better
got
version
chops,
of Charlie
man. Like,
Sheen. That's all.
He's got chops. Like, I'd like
He's
to see
got
him get
serious
his.
chops. He's
I'd like to
funny.
get to
He's
see him
got
have
great
his
comedic
day, you
timing
know?
as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
man.
right. And it was nice to see
Anyway.
Lauren Graham again. I love that she's doing a nice old family kind of comedy Disney series. It seems perfect because she's such a good actress and like
She's very lovable.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's super
I don't
lovable.
know her. I don't know any of her previous work,
I mean,
and I
yeah,
was
apart
very
from
impressed.
I mean,
I haven't seen it. I know
yeah.
what she's famous for, but yeah, I haven't seen it. I was
I
like,
mean,
okay,
she's
like
the
right
she's
off the
the
bat,
Aunt May that
solid.
Marissa
Yeah,
Tomei is
absolutely.
based on, like almost,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
many ways. Like it's that kind of cool mom vibe, and she's great
Yep.
at it. Supporting
Yeah.
cast was good. Before we move on, I do want to talk about that one episode where they bring back
Okay.
some of the ducks. That
I
was
I thought you wanted to talk about the episode where you find out that Alex's ex-husband was a cool rock star who plays in restaurants and is a real badass
oh
for
man,
doing so.
I don't want to talk about that. This is too close.
Going on tour
This is
to
like
the
I don't want to be
pubs.
50 and playing music like that. But you know what? He was just like, man, yeah, dude, like, we got a gig opening for what? I don't know, it was some bizarre.
I forget who.
Just
Some
something
shit.
something sad.
It's horrible.
Very,
It was
very
just very
sad.
sad. Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
too
man,
real.
the bringing the cast back was
Yeah.
really nice. Especially characters from the first and the second film. And it was nice to see them, man. Adam Banks, dude, from like Mighty Ducks 1 and 2
Mm-hmm.
and 3 also, if I'm not mistaken. He's back. It's insane. Time is
They do.
insane. I hate it, and it works.
It hits you in the feels just like you'd expect it to. The only two things worth really mentioning for me was that one, really actually just the one thing. It tells you just how low stakes the show is because of the fact that they literally needed to have a photo of the kid with the older guy next to it for you to be able to match the columns. It's like they knew that like if you see the old version of these kids, you will not recognize them.
Yeah, they've not
And the other
been
thing was,
around in anything else. For
I
a
know
while.
it's Disney, but they were like, even we can't afford Kenan Thompson right now. So we'll see if season 2 happens.
Well,
and maybe
that's
he'll come.
a great thing I want to say about Cobra Kai is that they have spared no expense. Everyone who has been in that thing has come back at some point or the other, which has been amazing. Actually, it's been quite incredible. But yeah, I would love to see that. And they do set up a sneaky little like thing, like saying that Charlie is Charlie's mad at you because he didn't come because he's mad at you, and maybe that sets up a thing for later on.
That's
could be
about
cool.
it. Yeah,
and maybe Kenan could come back. It would be great. I mean, what would stop
I mean, why
them?
wouldn't he?
Dude,
Yeah, I don't know
Kenan
why
is
they
doing
wouldn't.
like apart from SNL, he started his own like sitcom as well, dude. Like he can easily just do.
He can do what he wants.
Yeah,
he can do what the hell he
really
wants.
do what he wants. So
All right.
so yeah, but
Let's
it was
move
great
on
to see
to,
Eldon Henson as Fulton. He's back in this as well, and it was great.
Let's talk teens.
Let's talk teens. Let's grow up a bit.
the
Just but
tweens.
only a bit.
Only just so.
Big
I
shot. Give us
really,
a proper synopsis though. Give us a proper what? Just give us
There isn't too much to say. It's quite straightforward, really. I mean, it's just a guy who is not happy about the fact that he's coaching a team that he feels that he's above, and obviously the team that he is coaching is also on the back foot about the fact that who's this jackass that thinks he's so great, and he also has a daughter. He's a single parent who he's learning to be a better father too. And so then eventually that daughter comes and joins the same school. And so now work and play and home life and work life and everything kind of meddles up into one. And so now his work life and work wife and everybody is just all encompassing. And it really is Stamos' show. I mean, it's a big cast. It's a lot more involved. It's a David E. Kelly show. So there's a whole lot of like
amazing
counterplay happening of like different
super.
people getting introduced. And I don't think that this is the best thing about it, but the last maybe 2 or 3 episodes, I want to say there's 1 episode left in the season.
Yeah.
But the last 2 or 3 episodes have really gotten a solid OC vibe from
Yes, they have.
the teen drama in all the wrong ways is now finally shown through. The first half of the season, I was actually very on board. I was super excited.
I'm still
by how it
very
was going.
impressed with the
I'm
show.
I'm very into it. I'm going to see it all the way through. But now with the way the plot lines are going and the fact that they're basically fleshing out every individual on the team's backstory and their family story, but they only get 1 episode each. It's like, okay, now it's just like,
but
they're creating things just for you to remember who this player is. Like, give her this really intense drama at home. Which is
I will say, so there are more than 5 players obviously on the team, and you can see them in the background, just like in Game Changers. But there are the main 5 leads who are the main 5 characters on the team.
Yeah.
I will say that I have become more endeared to them as the show has gone on, especially
I am definitely.
not Destiny. Is it Destiny, the one with curly hair? The one who's the best actress on the show.
The Instagrammer?
No, not her.
Oh,
The
the
one
other one.
whose
Yes, that is Destiny.
who doesn't have a father, whose father's passed
Yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Destiny.
she's straight up the
Yeah.
best actress on this
Yeah.
entire, like, out of all the kids, and she's super natural and really really good. So when the actors are good, then I don't mind. Like for example, I really like what's his
Yeah, names are really hard on the show.
Marvin Korn's daughter, Emma.
Emma. Yeah.
First of all, she
She's
reminds me
great.
exactly of Ruchi, okay, first of all. But the second thing is, yeah, this is way too many similarities. But the other thing is that she's just like, playing against the lead of the show. It's like a challenging kind of thing. And
Of course,
Stamos is
yeah.
playing like a tough, she really holds her own. And the cast is excellent on this show.
It is a
And-
very good cast. It's a very, very good cast.
and especially it's nice to see. Oh my God, I'm forgetting her. Yvette Nicole Brown from Community. She plays the principal of this school, and she is so good. Like everything
Yeah.
she says makes me laugh. Everyone's amazing, from the therapist, like the school guidance counselor, to to the other faculty members. All really really good. But I think yes, of course, this is John Stamos' show. He plays the character really well, but there is like growth, like it's
Very much so.
Like the evolution of the character within even just the season is apparent, and it's nuanced because it's not a lot, but it's like enough to make you think that okay, cool, something's happening.
I'll say it's nuanced. It's nuanced enough. It's not the most nuanced thing you'll see by a long shot, because I think it is very 90s in its construction.
Super 90s.
Like,
but
and
that's
it's
almost
no,
refreshing
it's no
about
coincidence that it's a David E. Kelly thing. Yes, exactly. That's kind of the refreshing thing about it. It's very traditional in its structures and it's very
Exactly,
traditional
yeah.
in its forms. However, it'll do things like there are a whole bunch of like gay relationships just like thrown in there out of nowhere, and there are a bunch of like the fact that who is it? Is it
Mouse?
which girl is it that has two moms? Or am I now confusing shows?
Two moms. Oh yeah, that's
I am
Nick
confusing
in
shows. That is
Game
that is
Changers.
I am
That's
confusing
Nick
shows now.
in Game Changers.
But either which way, like the Destiny now has a mother who she didn't know was
who
really
believes
her
is her
aunt, and all
aunt,
these
but is
things.
actually
Yeah,
her
so
mom. Yeah.
Basically, like he's thrown in a couple of random curveballs that are literally just thrown in there, just like by the way, and then this happened. So there's no nuance to that, but it is nice that he's shaken things up. It's like the format and the structure of everything and in the dynamics of the relationships are the same.
Yeah.
It's just that they're flipped. And now you have love triangles that exist
I'm
where
cool
it's
with
like
it. Like,
it's
okay.
it's forward moving, but it's in a traditional structure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like
Which
all
is
the
fine. It's
arcs
fine.
are like kind of progressive. I mean, like, and when I say progressive, it's just like to the, this is the age reflecting the age we live in. But but the other thing is just so in that way, I don't think that it's breaking ground in the sense that having like non like heterosexual relationships and all that stuff is hardly a thing. But it's just like, but. Maybe talking about like one of the arcs I did like, even though I don't like that character as much, is like this girl who's Instagramming and she doesn't, and she's faking the entire thing, and she does, none of her life is real. She kind of presents this, made up kind of lavish lifestyle, which is not true, and then she gets caught for it, and how she has to come clean and stuff, and the discussion with her parents, that entire episode is really good because the entire episode is framed around how they're trying to get another player onto the team, and they can offer them a full ride scholarship and all of that, and in the end it kind of, they say that, oh, this girl who's been lying about her life is actually really broke, and like her parents are struggling to make ends meet and to put her in this really expensive kind of preppy kind of school. And so they gave her the scholarship. So I thought the entire episode works well because it kind of it evolved Marvin Korn's character, John Stamos' character, and then and so on and so forth. So there are moments. There's one episode, I mean, we've spoken about already, but about John Stamos' father and how his father passes away, and like all the memories that kind of come associated with that, and why all of his issues essentially stem from that. So it was nice, like, and it more than anything, it just gets to flex John Stamos' like chops as an actor,
man.
And that's what you want, man. Like, and
one thing
that scene with him and Emma, his daughter.
One thing
Emma,
you've never
amazing.
seen as well, which you see more regularly than that, and that was an episode that we both talked about before. Like, it is it was like, whoa, he's arrived. Like Stamos is legit. Like you can't argue that.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you get to see angry Stamos. You get to see like a really aggressive version of him, which he doesn't get to do in at least the shows that I've seen.
Yeah.
The one show. So
I
love that.
not,
I'm like,
this is not
he's
the
getting
Stamos that
getting to really
he's a
flex,
lovable
basically.
uncle, man, and now
He
he's
really
playing
is.
like angry uncle, but maybe might be love. I think he's great, and
Yeah.
he's definitely a good actor. There's no doubt.
The great thing about him now is just the fact that kind of like how with any action hero who you see in a non-action scene, the minute you see him like he's got a gun in his hands, all right, here we go, let's see it. Like this is now like if you see Tom Cruise running, you know you're in for it. If you see John Stamos sit down on a bed about to give a talking to somebody, you're like, all right,
Let's go.
let's go for it. But like 5 seconds ago, he was running up and down a court, yelling at everybody, just shy of calling them a son of a bitch. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? I didn't know he could flip like that. So it's great.
He's amazing. And I do want to point out also the other incredibly stellar member of this cast is an actress named Jessalyn
Gilsig,
who plays Holly, the like assistant coach in this. My God, she is so good. There's one scene which blew my mind, which was there's one of the kids in the school whose name is Louise Grzinski. Her father owns the entire arena in which they play in. He's a big sponsor of the school, and he kind of gets caught for embezzlement, and so he's gonna get arrested. So she's kind of acting up, and so Holly has to kind of give her a talking to, and that scene where she kind of just says, "Yo, listen, shut the fuck up and listen to me."
Yeah, you think you got problems?
So visceral and so good, and it was just like, you really kind of see that this show is not like a game. It's not your typical kind of.
No.
It's a Disney show, sure, but like almost only in like it's got the teen drama element like down, but it's got the David E. Kelly part of it like way high, because that's the kind of stuff that you would like remember from some of his earlier kind of work, and it was brilliant. I'm really like, I really like dig how well it balances the lighter stuff of it. Like John Stamos has a relationship with this very very eccentric kind of like theater teacher and playwright, and that stuff is really kind of loosey goosey in terms of like, okay, cool, he has to kind of do, but the other stuff when it comes to the life shit. Man, that stuff is on and it's great, and the balance between those two things it's been well done. And I just want to add also, this show has been created by David E. Kelly,
Brad Garrett,
Dean Laurie, and Brad Garrett.
Brad Garrett.
He's the creator of this show.
Is it the same Brad Garrett?
Yes, of course.
The Brad Garrett, Brad.
Raymond's brother, Brad.
Great, man. Well, that's good for him.
Good for Brad Garrett. Well done. This is
Bradley.
a feather in your cap, sir.
Yeah.
This is great.
Okay.
Like,
I wanna switch to the same thing we said about Game Changers. Moments in this show that make you feel old as fuck. Now, you tell me, you'll have a better grip on this. The music in this show.
Yeah.
Is it weird, or is it just music of today, and I'm an old fart and I don't listen to this kind of music at all?
What do you mean by you mean like the background score?
The background score. So like you'll notice like in the school there is only one hallway. They only walk down one hallway, and 90% of the
one
time
room, one hallway, one classroom.
Yeah.
Principal's office and the faculty room.
And the faculty room, which consists of a faculty of 5 people, one non-speaking role. The entire faculty is 5 people. 4 of them we know, 1 of them we don't know. But when we're in this hallway, 90% of the time, we're in slow-mo because it involves usually Stamos looking at the kids, looking at him, going, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Or whatever the hell. And the music that plays, every time, I'm just like, I'm taken out. I'm just like, what the fuck is this music? And I'm like, is this weird music, or am I just getting old? And
I don't know.
Music of
it's not something that I've paid much attention
then
to.
I'll take that as I'm just getting.
Maybe.
It's not music that is.
But the other thing is just
I'm thrown out of it all the time. I'm just like, what the hell is this music?
I like the intro
because
theme. The intro theme is no music. It's just
the
like
intro theme is the drum group from Paradise City.
No, but it's also like it's kind of like all these basketball sounds. That's cool. I like that.
And Guns N' Roses. Yeah, but
sure. Sorry,
but
we've missed a few comments from Ankit Daya because I didn't have that chat browser open. But he said would totally listen to Nick's podcast, but he's not podcasting anymore now because it's gone over to, because now he's part of the team, so he's not podcasting. But Sofa Dude Malfoy, he said something about Averman. Averman was obviously one of the guys who comes back, who's a limousine driver.
Oh yeah.
Kathleen Rose
I like
Perkins
the
was a
limo
nice
coming
surprise.
back on the
Yes,
ice. That was a nice
agree.
touch.
Good all around. Like well done. And this is a weird. Why even why we kind of like. I latched onto these shows. I remember both of us when we were talking about it, even when they came out, was just like it was just after Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or just with film. Like it was kind of
Around, yeah.
overlapping.
It was
And
a
then
palate cleanser.
yeah, it was.
It was just
the
like
best. And I was every Friday I
Yeah.
would look forward to this, and
Yeah,
now
yeah,
Bad
yeah,
Batch
yeah,
has
yeah.
started. So it's just like
Yeah.
I'm watching like every Friday. I'm just like, which is tomorrow. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh shit, Mighty Ducks, this,
Yeah.
Big Shot, and Bad Batch, and all these.
I miss it. It like after WandaVision, especially. Like I was like, man, appointment viewing.
So
It does good for
and
the
it's
soul.
working,
Appointment
it's
viewing is
working.
good. It's like having a routine to the things that make you happy is good. Is also healthier than just like 18 hours of nonstop goodness. I was like, okay, because then it's like too much of a good thing.
It
You know
is
what I
too
mean?
much of a good thing. You're right, and
Yeah.
I believe we, and it's good that we tried it out, and I think it still works to some degree for some other shows, like
Of course it works. Yeah, it has its time.
for like
Yeah.
6-7 episodes.
Pick your
we
moments.
could
Pick
do-
your moments. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But I think
But-
for something like this, it's nice, and the show is, and this is not even a show I would binge, right? Like this to
Yeah,
to
no,
be
it's not a-
absolutely fair to it. Like this is not a show I would watch
honestly,
3-4 episodes
it's
back
one
to
of,
back.
It's one of the few times I've said this out loud a few times when watching The Big Shot, because I took a break. I was watching it weekly up until like episode 4 or 5, and I skipped maybe 2 weeks and had to catch up on the last 2 or 3 episodes together. And I remember I said out loud when it said previously on Big Shot, "Oh yes, thank you." I was like, good. I was like, I need this. I'm deeply invested
So
in this
true.
show,
So
but I
true.
need you to tell me what happened.
This show, I spoke about this earlier, but the show that I think I needed most for is Picard, because it's not a show that I'm watching. It's like over, so all the episodes are out, and I have maybe 2 episodes left. But it's Star Trek, so it's so laden
so-
with
Yeah.
intricacies of the Borg and the
Yeah,
cube and all of
yeah.
that. I'm just like, and when it says previously on Picard, I'm just like, thank you so much for that. I really need it.
Like there's a thing to this whole there's an art to the previously on as well, because I remember feeling upset when WandaVision did a certain previously on, and that was with the MCU shows. Like it's no surprise, I have my fingers so closely on the pulse that
Correct.
I am paying attention to so many different things that I don't want you to remind me, because when WandaVision's season finale happened, the previously on included
Yeah.
all the relevant things. But then they
Exactly.
had the only major thing from the previous episode that they reminded you of was the runes. And I was like, that was the fucking
That is
deal,
what
right?
that is the problem,
and so
especially even when you're watching it on
what I
Big
like
Shot.
about this kind of a show, this show needs the previous on because they know, like, listen, the stakes aren't that high. Just relax, it's fine.
Do you remember
Just-
previously?
Do you remember
this
that,
one's
that
still
girl?
this one's
She
TikTok.
ignored her TikTok. Exactly. she denied her request. Like, okay, cool. Thanks for that.
But
That's
you know,
all I
I
wanna
don't, I
know.
don't know. I still give these shows a ton of credit because this is your staple kind of diet of, like, proper kids or teen television, and it
Yeah.
does hark back to that time. I mean, I don't know if there's a good reason for why there are 2 brown 30-year-olds watching kids Disney show. I mean, fuck it, we don't have to kind of explain that shit, but
We were 11-year-old brown 13-year-olds watching 29-year-olds in New York for 10 years. It's just the 6 of them living life
exactly
religiously. There was no reason for us to watch that, but we did.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about it?
You guys talked. Did you guys not talk
We
about
haven't
the reunion?
spoken about it yet. No.
You guys argued about whether or not I'm invested in Friends, and I am invested in Friends. I've seen every episode. I have seen it. I saw almost all of Friends rewatched through lockdown. I got through season 8.5, and then the reunion happened. Our friend Al and I watched it together. We had to drink heavily to get through it because, my God, you've seen it, the reunion?
I have seen it. Yes, yes.
It was
yes.
abysmal. It was
It was
absolutely
very
god-awful.
poorly
I
made.
was. Had I not been very drunk, I would have been very angry. The MVP,
okay. Yeah.
the only thing that is memorable that I would recommend people watch the reunion for is the really shitty fan testimonials in the middle of it that are just like shoehorned in. Because there's one guy, the only one guy of all the fan testimonials, which is like spanning from Ghana to the United States to India to all these things. There's one guy that's subtitled. He's the Indian guy, and he
Yes!
starts talking.
Oh my
and I was
God.
like, why is
Dude,
the Indian guy
I
subtitled?
was so
the guy
offended.
from Dubai
I
and,
was-
and BTS and guy from Korea, they're not subtitled. Do you know why he was subtitled? Because he was giving some really sad sob story about like how his father was really ill and friends made him happy. I was like, cool, good for you. I'm
Oh
glad
my
the show
God,
made you
I'm
happy.
so
But
glad
then
you
he
brought this
said the MVP because the guy goes, I was really upset because my father was dying. He was in hospital and everything was going bad. And then one day he was diagnosed with something, and I died. He lost us completely. Nothing else mattered
This is
about
so
the show.
sad. This is
Like,
really
Cara
sad. I
Delevingne
don't know.
in
I
a fucking in the Joey costume doesn't matter. The guy was diagnosed, and that's all that matters. That's why he needed subtitles. He's
no,
the
it's
MVP.
not fair. Okay, it's still not fair. I'll tell you why.
It was so
Listen,
bad.
the
It
Ghanaian
was
woman,
terrible.
bless her soul, it was hard to understand. Like Abhimanyu and I, we were just like, yo, what the fuck? Why is this guy the only guy who's subtitled? There are plenty of undecipherable, like unintelligible accents on this thing. I mean, like, and genuinely, of course, because we're Indians and we know how badly it can be skewed, the
Yeah.
accent, we can
Yeah.
understand pretty much any version of the English accent, right?
he was
And like,
diagnosed,
and when the
Tejas.
Ghanaian woman was speaking, there was genuinely one moment where it was just like she says something, and Abhimanyu and I turned to her and we were just like, we don't understand what she's saying. Why is there no subtitles for this? And I was just like, yo, this is insane. This is insane.
like,
but
I
I will
knew-
say,
Okay, go on.
the whole thing was cringe, right? The whole thing, the fashion show, all of it
horrible.
was cringe. It was really, really
Absolutely
bad.
horrible.
The one thing I'd say that was nice, even though it was
Tables.
heavily kind of like scripted and directed, was them one by one kind of walking into I can imagine the director going like, okay, cool, we'll leave the set and then Matt LeBlanc will enter and then this one will enter separately after a while, then they shall meet and talk about it. So obviously directed, but obviously when it's just the six of them, it does work because it isn't, even though they look fucking insanely weird as hell.
Yeah.
Because of
That's
whatever
another podcast.
life
That's a
that they've
podcast
got.
in itself. Yeah.
Yeah. It was not
But-
their
but
day or
no,
their month or their year for
The
for
the first big red flag was whoever the hell was the first celebrity to give a testimonial.
Yeah.
It was either David Beckham or Reese Witherspoon or somebody or the other like that.
Yeah, I think it was Reese
And-
Witherspoon, yeah.
And it says, Reese Witherspoon, like award-winning actor. And it's the fact that, okay, hang on a second. The fact that you need to explain to the viewers not only who this uber famous person is, but exactly what that title is, tells me that like you're literally dumbing this shit down to, if you can speak English, you can watch this. Like that is all you need. Because like every single thing is like set up for you to the point of like there's no nostalgia, there's no room for nostalgia. It's just like, let me just give you the hits of the show in an hour 45 minutes. When I saw it was an hour 45 minutes, I knew I was in for trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
But then-
I was like, this is an hour and 45 minutes. It's nuts.
I could go down a rabbit hole of like condescension to this entire thing, man.
No,
Like the
and
fact
you
that
know
it
the
was
other-
17 years. I was like, why 17 years? Why now? Like,
Yeah.
What made 17 years? Like, oh, somebody was poor and they needed money. And like one of the six of them called up the other five. I was like, listen, buddy, I would really like some bucks. Can we please do this now? I don't know
the thing
why
that,
they picked now to do
the
it.
thing that put me off, I think, was when they got all these actors, right? So when they got the guy from downstairs, Mr. Higgins. What is his name, Mr. something?
Yeah, Mr.
Heckles, right? Yeah. And
The
I was
way they looked at him as well was just like, oh,
it
you're
was
that
just like,
guy.
everybody,
Oh,
it's
cute.
Mr. Heckles, give it up. And he's there for literally to play a role for 30 seconds and then leave and collect a check,
Yeah, it was
essentially.
just- it
and
was
they're just like
shameless,
laughing like,
man.
oh,
It was
ha, 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 thank you. Oh, thank you so
Oh,
much.
pleb. It was
Dude,
like very plebby,
Thomas
kinda like,
Lennon,
just, like,
who's like a
looking down
very
at
funny
people.
actor.
I know.
He's there like for 2 seconds as the male hand model. Tom Selleck, you don't do that to Tom Selleck,
I
dude.
know.
You don't
It
bring
was
Tom
very-
Selleck
it was
out for
very-
like 30 seconds.
It was
How
very
dare you.
dismissive. It was very dismissive of everybody but them. The only thing that I genuinely enjoyed watching was the producers' interviews.
Yeah, that
Like
was
hearing
nice.
those stories was genuinely good.
And that
that
was novel, right? Like it was novel.
That
like
was
about
yeah,
the
it was
Joey's
original.
arm,
I was like,
dislocating
that's
his
good
arm.
to know.
Yeah.
That was good. But see, even the Joey's dislocating arms thing, that was novel, yes, but it was also much like everything else in the show. It was a DVD extra. You could have told me that story
It's
in the
true.
BTS. The fact that we literally watched them watch bloopers was a low point for me. I was like,
Oh,
listen,
man, yeah.
I've seen these bloopers that they're watching, and the fact that they're going, I've never seen this before. I was like, yeah, because you don't need to see this. This is not. I don't need to watch you watch this.
Yeah, it was so
Because,
bizarre. It was
like,
just like
I can see
it
how
was
little you
so-
care about this.
I guess it was
Like-
trying to be like vicarious in like a weird way, but I don't know, man. It's like the other thing that I thought was all right was when it's just the six of them talking. It's nice, like in the set and what have you. And the other one was when they're doing like a table read of like some of
Yeah.
the scenes. It was nice, especially
Table
like
reads are fun.
Lisa Kudrow was amazing. She's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And my favorite
And
in all of
Shona
this was Matt
LeBlanc.
LeBlanc, man. Like the guy just looks
Yeah.
like he just grew up and he aged and he became a
He's
dad.
just
And
he's just like fuck it. He's
Yeah,
like
he's
he
like,
knows
fuck it.
exactly where he knows where the cards lie. He's like fuck it. I'm this
Exactly.
guy. People know me for this. I
Dude,
don't need to
Courtney
be sexy
Cox,
anymore.
why
I'm
did
just
you
gonna
do that?
fuck it.
Why?
Oh.
Why do you look like Glenn Close from like 40 years in the future? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
It was
Guys,
very sad.
I hated that fashion show was the low point of the whole thing. Like Cara Delevingne wearing the holiday armadillo. I was just like, but why? And my other thing was just like, having like Elliot Gould, like in the audience, with
Yeah.
I can't remember that
The actress's name, yeah. The mom.
Their mom, right? The gallows
Yeah.
mom. But just like those guys are they're national treasures, in some ways.
Yeah.
Like these guys are like
Yeah.
have been on TV as this, and it's just like weird that they're all watching. It's just like this. It felt awkward, man. It felt so cringe. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
enjoy it as much
It was-
as some people say they have. Like some people were just like, apparently people were in tears and they were just like, oh, I can't believe I'm watching that. I was like, all right, good.
Good for
I don't
them.
want to take that away from you. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I
But it
mean-
was just like, I was like, I couldn't, man. It was nice to
Yeah.
see them. There's no doubt about seeing them six together like that. It's cool.
Yeah.
But you
It
could have
was-
made
it was-
this.
it was
You could have
cool
made
for
this
like 10
40
minutes.
minutes on Jimmy Kimmel or something like
It
that.
literally was just a late night show, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I mean,
It
and James
literally-
Corden, who,
Thanks for trying.
I mean,
But like, yeah, but it was also like nobody was gonna sell this well. It's not a.
I mean, yeah,
not an
for
entity
this
that could be-
arrangement, you need
Yeah.
a James Corden or a Jimmy Fallon, like that.
Yeah,
kind
you
of-
need somebody with just like unashamed enthusiasm for shit.
Like, you have to be, who's like a fucking fan, like a real
Yeah.
obsessed fan. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and is not ashamed about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Friends.
Watch Game Changers and Big Shot. It's a lot better than that.
Yeah, 100%. If you guys, okay, so I think we'll call it at that. But yes, definitely watch Big Shot. I'd say, if you're a Mighty
For
Ducks
sure.
fan, 100% watch Mighty Ducks Game Changers. It's nice to just get it back into that space. But Big Shot is a really nice David E. Kelly kind of show, which has John Stamos, who's arguably the best reason to watch it. And also if you're into the hokey kind of sports high school drama, there's plenty of that in this show going around. So definitely watch those two. Friends Reunion, if you haven't watched it already, then you shouldn't be watching it at all.
Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't watched it, then you don't need to watch it. And if you
Yeah.
have watched it already, it means you wanted to anyway, so we can't stop you. So, but we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Jishnu, for being here. And if you guys enjoyed any of this and you want to see more and you want to hear more, we try and do this every week. Otherwise, you can find us on Instagram or on our Discord server, and we can catch you guys over there. All right. See you guys and stay safe. Bye, you nerds.
Toodaloo, you nerds.